Welcome to the woods. Blue sky, not a cloud in sight. A day after Storm Bert flooded half the county. There's floods in at least 5 of the big towns around here. A lot of the villages got cut off. And a day later, blue sky and no clouds. Not even a hint of wind. Now, I live in nature. I live in the middle of the woods. So over the years I've become quite used to the seasons, quite used to the change in weather. And it's true that it's not quite the same as it was years ago. I wouldn't say it's getting warmer. When they predicted we'd have no snow ever again, then we do, which is quite pleasant actually. It's quite nice to have a bit of snow around Christmas time. But there are random occurrences that we never seem to get before. Flooding, torrential storms, rain. And I've got to say, I think it ties into the geoengineering that they're admitting that they're doing it now. Cloud seeding, trying to get it rain in one area and stay drier in another, presumably. And I'm sure they're not telling us everything they're doing or the reasons why they're doing it, but they are at least telling us they're doing it. The problem with that is that if you mess with nature too much, if you don't work in harmony with it, if you just try to fight against it, it will find a way to fight back. And what we're seeing at the moment could very well be a consequence of their meddling. And they do like to meddle in things, don't they? We're 4 months into a hardline communist government in the UK. Two-tier Keir has taken a slightly different tack to what I thought he was going to take. When he was voted into power, he had an opportunity to neutralise the right wing and to get the public on side. I could see that if he'd stopped the illegal immigration, if he'd stopped the small boats, which in reality would have made zero difference to the immigration to this country. It's not the small boats that are the problem, it's the legal migration. It's the millions of people that they let in. But if he'd done that, if he'd stopped those small boats, he would have swung public opinion his way, and he would have had an argument that he was doing what the people wanted. It would have taken the wind out of the sails of those on the right. It would have taken away that argument, that point that is being constantly made. But he didn't do that. In fact, there's more people coming across the channel, being put into more hotels, costing us countless millions every day. And he's allowing this. He's facilitating this at a time where he's punishing, openly punishing any dissent and the indigenous British people. So when they were rightly angry about the stabbing of 3 girls by a Welsh choir boy, the son of Rwandan parents who came here under dubious circumstances, when the public were rightly outraged, he threw him in prison. He's taken millions of pounds away from pensioners at a time of year where they desperately need that money to heat their homes. And now he's attacked the British farmer after telling them he wouldn't. And this last case, this attack on our food security, this attack on our very land, because that's what it is. It's a land grab, pure and simple. I've spoken about this in previous videos. Part of the Woodlander initiative was because of this. Because over the last 4 years, we've seen that the multinational corporations have been buying up parcels of land. That people who were investing in property are getting out property investment and investing in land. And there was a lot of different reasons for this. A lot of those companies were using it to offset their carbon so they can continue to act in whatever way they wish. They can run their fleet of cars and they can pump poisons into the atmosphere and they can carry on as usual because now they own a field and they can offset that because the field or the forest sequesters carbon. And we know it's retarded. We understand that that's retarded because the field and the forest were already there. Nothing's changed. It's no different from the ULEZ argument. The argument for having it is because there's too much pollution, so we will, charge you £12–15 a day to drive in. If you pay us the £15, then it's absolutely fine. You can carry on polluting. It's all about money. And the deal with the farmers, the inheritance tax, don't be taken in by that. It will only affect a few. It will affect most farms. I've spoken to enough of them recently. It will affect most farms. The sort of farms it won't affect at the moment are the small hobby permaculture businesses, small holdings which are under 2 or 3 acres. These places will scrape in at the moment under that 1 million mark. But nearly every professional farm is going to be hit with this, and it's put them in a precarious situation. Everyone's spoken about it, so you kind of understand that they're going to be left in a situation where they're not going to be able to pay that tax bill. And if they can't pay that tax bill, that inheritance tax, they're going to have to sell the farm, sell the land, or sell part of it. But if they're only going to sell part of it, the likelihood is they're going to be in a very similar situation the following year or the following 2 years. And there's a few things floating about online about how these multinational parasitical institutions plan on taking the land. And I'm not saying they're true, and I'm not saying they're false. What I'm saying is it really doesn't make any difference. It would seem that Starmer, very friendly with BlackRock, Vanguard and a few others, has already discussed how the farming industry in this country will go. we've heard from his former advisors saying that we don't need small family farms. And I would suggest that what's going to happen, what's been decided already, is that there will be large multinational companies that run huge monoculture farming industries in the UK. They won't be producing what you think. They won't be producing potatoes and kale and onions, carrots. They won't be producing the things you are used to eating. They'll be producing huge million-acre fields of anything that can ground down and made into a plant-based meat burger. Because everything that we're used to, everything that's natural, they want to subvert, they want to take away. And these are decisions that they've made, and they are decisions that they've told us about. Starmer has already said he would much rather deal with Davos than with Parliament. He's a Davos man. And those places, along with the public face of that new world order, that WEF, haven't been shy about telling all of us what it is they want. They want you to be out of the countryside. They want you to be eating protein from plants and not animals. They want you curtailed within a 20-minute neighbourhood. I've spoken in videos before about the town nearest to me and how they've already started putting in place all the things necessary to qualify as a 20-minute neighbourhood. Why would they be doing that if it's not going to happen? So you need to ask yourself, is that the future you want? Is that the future you want for your children? Is that the future you want for your grandchildren? To be surveilled 24/7, to live in an area no larger than 20 minutes across, to have their travel restricted, their movements restricted, their diet restricted, and everything controlled. And if you're happy with that, if that's the future you'd like for you, your family, then that's okay. That's your choice. But if, like me, that's anathema, that's a hellscape, that's the very opposite of humanity, of what is natural, then we need to get busy. There is no point sitting on your hands hoping someone will come along and save us. It's us that has to do it. I've said this 100 times. We have to do this. And it's not impossible, and it's not war, is it? It's just making a few of the right decisions. It's about helping those groups that are already out there building a parallel system. I spoke to someone recently. The reason a parallel system has to be the way forward is because they're not going to allow us to change the system they're designing. Why would they? And if they're the ones in power, and we're not, we need to build our own. And it's possible to do. Look how far we've come without even realising it. We have our own media. We have our own news. We have our own programs. We have our own distribution networks. We have our own social clubs. We do. They're out there. We have our own publishing houses. We have our own people creating films. We have our own farmers. Do you have any idea how many farmers are on our side? It's just bringing all of this together. Bringing it together. Because that parallel system's very nearly there. And the more things we add to it, the bigger it gets, the stronger it gets, the more people it attracts. And it's going to mean that you have to change some of the things you're doing. For far too long, we've been far too comfortable, just gone along with whatever for comfort and convenience. I'll buy my coffee from the supermarket. But we have people that make coffee. We have companies, our own people, that produce tea. And yet, you're buying PG tips and funding a multi-billion-pound corporation who doesn't care about you. So we need to change our shopping habits. We need to stop watching the TV. We need to stop paying for the TV license, if any of you are still doing that. You need to withhold your money from the supermarkets. Use a farm shop. I know it's 5 miles away. I know it's inconvenient. We have to be realistic. It's going to be difficult to build something new, to build something better. But if we don't, we will have no choice but to go along with what they want. And this is the frustrating thing. There's people out there desperately trying to help us. I started that Woodlander initiative to ensure that we could buy land so that these demons can't get hold of it. If we own it, we won't sell it. We can use it. We can grow food on it. We can keep livestock on it. There's a lot of other things we can do on it. I can't say everything on YouTube. There's so much we can do. But it means that you all need to help. Help those people. Help those publishing houses. Christmas is coming. Get online. Find our people that are running their own business. Support them. Drive the 5 miles. Use a farm shop. A little bit of inconvenience now is going to save a lifetime of inconvenience and heartache down the road. People like Starmer don't stop. They don't quit. They don't give in. They've made a decision. They'll follow it through. And you need to understand, he hates you. You are an inconvenience. If he could throw you all in jail. He would. He would. Me included. So we've got to be smart. We've got to be clever. We've got to support those individuals, groups that are putting things in place. Everyone needs to do their bit, even if it's just changing your shopping habits. I'm not asking you to march in the street. I'm not asking you to hang banners off of bridges. I'm not asking you to go online and post whatever. Small changes make a huge difference. Change your shopping habits. Support the groups that are supporting us. You don't know who they are? Drop me a line on Telegram. I'll give you a whole list of them. If you're not involved with the Woodlander Initiative, please go and visit the website. The link is in the description. Read what we put on there. Just the introduction. We'll tell you what's coming. We'll tell you what they have planned. And we'll tell you how we can fight against it. If I thought for 1 minute that a political party could fight its way through and win, a political party that's on our side, I would join and do everything I could. But I've been around a long time. I've been in a lot of smaller political parties. I've been in mainstream political parties. The fact is that for nearly 100 years, every single organisation and political party on our side has utterly failed. They've had small victories along the way, but nothing that lasted. We can't keep making the same mistakes. We need to look outside the box. And it's not just me saying this. I'm talking to organisations in France, in Finland, in Sweden, in Germany, in America, in South Africa, who are all of the same opinion. We'll build it ourselves. We've built the greatest societies, civilizations ever known. Doing it one more time. That's our job. So let's get together. Let's push in the same direction. Get involved. Support the people that are fighting for you. Speak to you later, you lot.